It's great to hear and see you guys. Um, Zach is still on vacation, so I will be running the webinar today. And I'm afraid I'm not as smooth as Zach is when it comes to demoing stuff. So if it looks like I'm, struggling a little bit, it's probably because I am. But I definitely respect what Zach can do, and let me tell you, it's not as easy as it looks. So if you'll bear with me for the hours or 2 hours that we're here today, I'm really glad you could join us. And first of all, Happy New Year. I mean, it's been a wild ride for us for 2012 in terms of all the stuff that happened in the markets and of course the presidential election. So it's been a pretty exciting year, and of course the most important thing to mention is the world didn't actually end. So this is us continuing our life, and of course just what everybody else is everybody is marching on and continuing to innovate great products, and we're no different. So today I've got a couple things to show you. I've got a couple questions and one that came in from Soon. I see that he's actually in the room here today, so I'm going to be going through his question in a bit. But if you guys have any other questions, I mean, please feel free to just interrupt me at any time, and I'll get to it when I can. Other than that, I was going to also show you a couple things with 1.1. I know Zach has been pretty light on that sort of stuff, and it's because it's a lot of these new function nodes and whatnot. There's a lot of things we can do with them, and we haven't quite all figured out. Even though we've designed it and developed it, there's still a lot of things about it that we don't even know what it's capable of. And I keep saying this over and over again, but it's true. And once we sort of unleash into the wild and let you guys play with it, you guys usually come up with things that we've never even dreamed of in a million years. So it's really exciting always to see what a community can do with it. First question comes from Gary, and he's just asking, all right, where can I get beta 1.1? And should I uninstall my old version? Okay, so let me do that real quick here. So the current official release is 1.06. And let me just get to our home page here. All right, there's a couple ways to go about it. All right. Okay, so if you are logged into our website, and you just, pardon me, the web browser is just kind of slow a little bit here today. Okay, if you've logged in, you'll see this little guy up here. There's typically a login up here and even a register. If you've done that already, then great. Once you got an account and you're here, what you can do is you can now go to the download section here under BloodHound. Okay, under BloodHound downloads, and you will see. Oh, actually, it's not visible there. Sorry. Okay, let's go another way. Easiest way, guys, is just go to our support section. Okay, so we'll go to our support menu. Oh, it looks like it logged me out. That's probably why. Let me just show you what I mean here. You log in, it'll just reveal the downloads, and once I log in here, you can see under software releases here, we have the beta. Okay, so this is it. This is beta 1.03, and you don't have to uninstall your old one explicitly, but you certainly can if you want to. I just recommend very strongly that before you install 0.03 is you close down all your windows, go to your strategies here, right? Make sure they're all gone, closed. You basically want to just make it as smooth as possible, but not sit here. I've got a couple things here. I've got a test and a BloodHound thing going here, so I would delete those first. You can make sure your workspace is saved before you do this. Just clear it all out before you do the install. We just found that if you don't do that, sometimes some crazy stuff can happen. Go to Utilities and go to Import Ninja Script, just as you've done before, and you just have to take take this file that you've got here from this download and navigate to it. And I don't really have it here. I'm not going to bother doing it, but you could just go ahead and double click on it and go ahead and install it. And NinjaTrader will actually overwrite it. And then what you have to do is restart NinjaTrader. So just close it all down, open it up again. And for future reference, from now on, we now have sort of an auto update ability here. This starts with version 1.1 and later. So anytime we sort of update 1.1, you need only go to check for updates, and it'll actually check once a day automatically for you. And you just go check updates, and it'll check to see if you've got the latest version. If not, it'll run you through and it kind of install. It's sort of painless. It'll just tell you when to close down NinjaTrader. Once you've done that, it will copy over the right files, and then you can start NinjaTrader up, and you've got the new version of BloodHound. So I've shown you one way to get there. That's under our support downloads, right? That's again right here, okay? But you can also go to our support center, and I've posted a basically a little item there at the top there, and you can see once you get there, you should see something like this. You don't even have to be logged in to do it. And at the top here is our version 1.1 link, and some more details at this link here. This is actually, I'll just kind of open up a new tab there, but this is where you would download that link, is right here. Okay. And if we go to this, oops, there we go. So this is the 1.1. If you click this link here to go to more details, it comes up with this page here, and we sort of go through some of the new things that are in there. And look, now we don't have any formal documentation yet for 1.1, but here's kind of a description of what we've added and what's new. And like I said, I'll show a couple of these today. But the significant function nodes is that it really opens the doors in terms of being able to really manipulate your signals and do things that are looking back in time, creating basically a state machine. There's a lot of capability built in. They're just sort of fundamental building blocks, and of course, how you use them is really up to you. And like I said, we're always excited to tell you guys how your creativity can really add to the whole thing. Okay, so Joseph is asking, how do you place SI Chameleon on my chart and then use the data in my login, I'm assuming logic template? I'm trying to compare the highs and lows of previous 2 bars to get a signal. Thanks. How long will the holiday promotion be running? Joseph, we originally planned to the 5th. I'm sort of speaking with my partner Zach about that to see if we may or may not extend that. I'm not sure, so unfortunately I can't give you a affirmative answer on that yet. But I guess you can just sort of assume it's the 5th otherwise. But let's, Joseph, if you don't mind, I'm gonna jump over to Soon's question first because he sort of asked it a couple of days ago, and then we'll get to yours in a bit. Okay. So this is what Soon has sort of submitted in a support ticket here, and basically wants to look at or he wants to go long when you've had the price break above, I'm assuming break above in this case, break above a Keltner channel. So essentially looking for an extreme price movement, and then revert back to an EMA, retrace back to an EMA. So basically we want to look at the last swing, and then we want to see a retracement. Okay. So what I've got here on the chart here is basically our swing pattern indicator, and then the Keltner channel. And then these little lines here just kind of represent, where the swing was, historically going back. Okay, so the tricky thing about swings is you don't actually know you're in a higher high or a lower low, or sorry, you don't know if you've managed to hit a high or low unless you've you know, unless the ball sort of turned away. You know what I'm saying? Like, so let me back up the chart here so we can take a look. So see that? Okay, so look on the right hand side. Okay, imagine you're going through and you see the price is going up. It's going up. I guess that's technically the high right now, but you know, you don't know that's the end of the swing yet. Okay, you don't know it's a swing high until you see until about this bar here. Right, that's when it's turned down. That's when you realize, okay, that's going to be the higher high. That's the end of this upswing, and now we're in a downswing. Okay, so you don't really know that until the retracement started, if you will. And so we have this other indicator that will track the last swing high, and that's what this line is. Okay, do you see? Everybody see that line there? So I'm just gonna draw it right there. You just barely see it, but it's just that line there. So that signifies the last high. And so what we're going to do is use that. Okay. So what I've added to the chart here is I've got the swings here, and it looks like it's like Zach's actually here. So it's good to know I'm not alone in this anymore. let me break for a second. Zach, how are you doing?
Hi, Jeremy. Is my audio on?
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah.
Sorry for coming in late. I had a bunch of stuff I had to take care of. I was trying to get it done as soon as I could. So, well, I hope everybody had a good holiday, and welcome back. So, go ahead, Jeremy. Do you have a question for me? Or you want me to take over?
No. Maybe I'll show this. I'll go ahead and show this this one for now, and if you don't mind, maybe you know, since you're more the resident expert, I mean, Joseph has got a question as well, so maybe you could try to prepare something in the background while I'm working on this one.
Okay, you said Joseph?
Once I'm done. Yeah. Do you see his question?
All right. I'll take a look at it then. Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Cool.
Great. Okay. Okay. So let me just continue here. Okay. So as I was saying, okay, I've added the Keltner channel, right? And I've added the swings. I've added another one called swings, highs, lows, and this is essentially these are these little lines here. Okay, so this is going to record, you know, when the lines, sorry, when the last tops were, and when the last bottoms were, and this one's actually designed to sort of look back at a number of swings and examine, you know, I don't know, say 3 swings back or 4 swings back, whatever, you know, what the highest high and what the lowest low were. We're only interested in the price level of the last swing. So I'm only going to set this number of swings to 1. Okay, so if we wanted to look back from, you know, 3 or 4 swings back, whatever, we'd set this to like 3, say. In fact, that's what the default is, but we're not interested in that. We just want to know what the price level was in the last swing. Okay, and you'll notice here, you know, it'll give you the tightest tops, the tightest bottoms, or the widest tops or the widest bottoms. Those are actually the same number when you're looking at only 1 swing back, right? But it's different if you're looking, say, I don't know, 3 or 4 swings back. You know, obviously the tightest top may not be the same as the widest top, right? So the widest top being defined as the, you know, furthest out. So I've just added these to the chart. Again, this is only to just illustrate, right? BloodHound works within its kind of zone, has its own calculation that's done internally, and meaning, you know, in theory, you don't actually even need these things added to your chart. You just, you know, they're just good for helping you build the system. But you know, if you BloodHound can actually sort of work without it. They're more for us. Okay. All right. So everybody understand where we are so far? Okay. So essentially, again, I'm going to take this this high, establish at this point here, and see if we can determine the point, when this thing crosses above, or when this thing is actually above the Keltner channel. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit tricky. Okay, so I'm going to kind of go through it here and see if I can figure this out as we go. So, all right, let's try a indicator comparison first. Let me see here. All right, yeah, why don't we try this first and see what we come up with. So, sort of going through. I haven't really planned my attack, so you can sort of see how we reason with these things and build the systems as we go. And we're going to just do a comparison between the swing high or low, swing high. Let's go, yeah, last swing versus the Keltner. Okay. All right. So let's start with adding the swing in here. And we do actually have swings built in, so you know what? I'm going to just go on a limb here and just, BloodHound's really good at just sort of experimenting with stuff. So, gee, I know I want to compare the swings. I want swings in indicator A, but indicator B, because I'm pretty sure, we need the Keltner channel. So I'm just going to put that up there first. And notice the Keltner channel. We've got a couple of different plots. We've got upper, we got the upper line, we've got the lower line. We always kind of consider that BloodHound's always evaluating both sides simultaneously, right? So, on the long side, we're only concerned with the upper channel, and the lower side, we're concerned with the lower channel. So I'm going to be selecting the long side, the upper channel, short side, the lower channel, and that way, when BloodHound does its computation, it's always looking at the correct side, if you will, the Keltner channel. Okay. Now I'm going to stick in here. I'm just going to go in and let me just put the swings in there right now. Okay, let's take a look at the last swing, and we want the. Okay, let's see. For the long, we want to examine the tops. Of course, that doesn't matter because the widest and the tightest should be the same. Short side, we want to look at the bottoms, and again, we don't care if it's the widest or the narrowest. It's going to be the same. So let's just take a look. Okay, so all right, so we've got this is starting to shape up a little bit here. So we got green, kind of when you see the last swing high is above the Keltner channel. All right, so that's kind of, we're sort of getting in the right area here, but we don't really want that. We want to know if this swing high here broke the Keltner channel. Okay, so bear with me while I just sort of think this through here out loud. So again, we don't know this. We don't know the high until here. Okay. I think maybe I'm kind of going about this the wrong way. So how about if why don't we first do a test to see if the price if the price simply breaks above the Keltner here. All right, there we go. Okay, so I just switched it over. Now these are the instances where the Keltner is being broken by the price here. All right. I think what we want to do instead here is check the retracements to see. By the way, Soon, if you're online, what EMA were you using here? Let me just save this. All right, and I'm just going to put the description up here. A little easier. Okay. Save that again. All right. Okay, soon I'm just going to add a indicator there. Okay, soon you're using the 108 EMA on a 200 tick chart. Okay, so let's just synchronize. Let's just use the 100 EMA, or sorry, 108 EMA. Let's make that a nice solid green or orange there. Actually, yeah, orange is fine. Okay, and let's switch this guy over to a 200 tick chart. Okay. Okay, so here you can see we pierced that Keltner pretty good there. And then what we want to do is catch these moments where swing is now going in this direction, going up, and we're getting basically a tracement back to this EMA here, right? So this would be a short signal, presumably right about here. And let's just look for that's a long signal. So here we go, pierced it up here, and then we want to retrace back down. Okay, in this case, when we're retracing to about here, the long signal would have occurred right about there. All right, so a couple ways we could go about doing this, but let's just experiment here and kind of work through it. But I'm going to add, first of all, the original signal, not the signal, but this is the indicator telling us when the price is broken through the Keltner. And what I probably want to do here is, okay, this, everything's kind of got to have a limit here. So I mean, it's no good for it to sort of broken through a Keltner channel and then 50 bars later meet up with your EMA for the signal, kind of validating that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift all this kind of data forward. I'm going to extend it, I guess you could say. I'm going to take this out, and I'm going to give it some room to go forward. Because once you start broken this Keltner channel, right, that's kind of like what we're trying to do is open the door up a little bit so that now we look for the second condition. The second condition being that it actually meets the EMA. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this signal and I'm going to paint it forward a bunch of bars, right, just to sort of open that possibility up. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to use something called a signal extender. And this is new again. And it does kind of what it sounds like. It just takes a signal and moves it forward, and it kind of grows it forward a little longer. So I'm just going to suppose give it a couple bars here. Let's click on the signal extender. And all right, let's just keep it simple right now. And right now we've just got it extended 5 bars. Except let's kill all that. Okay, so we're set after 5 bars. So I'm gonna give it 15 bars, grow it forward a little further. Okay, so what I've just done here, guys, is I've looked for those instances where the swing is broken through the bottom Keltner here, and I'm just gonna paint it forward to give it 15 bars of time before it hits this EMA. Okay, I suppose you could really make that really large if you want to, but nothing should. You should always kind of put things in there just to make sure you don't get any unexpected things. I mean, you don't want your last swing to be 100 bars long or something. That might just be too much. Got to set limits on your parameters is what I'm getting at. So I mean, you may have pierced the Keltner channel 100 bars ago, but is that still relevant? Probably not. So put a little bit of limit on there. I'm just going to put 15 here, just for the sake of it, because that seems like it probably is reasonable. Okay. Okay. So now we want to know if we hit that EMA again. right? So let's do one for the EMA. And a couple ways again that we could do this. We could do a comparison. All right. Now let's just do the price against the EMA by itself. So I'm building little components. So I've got this component over here now, right? This first component we built. So again, this is the Keltner test. The second component I'm going to build here is going to be the EMA test. All right, so let's do the EMA. This is kind of how you go about it. Just you build little pieces of it, and then you work the logic. You have to sort of work through it. So it's and as you can see, as you do it, everything, for those of you that are new, everything that you do is basically updated in real time here. So it really kind of helps. And you can see, okay, now we've painted all the zones where we're below the EMA here, and the EMA is this orange line here, and we're above the EMA up here. And as you can see, what we need to do is actually kind of reverse this, right? So we want to be, we want those instances where it has retraced back to the EMA, and we want, in fact, maybe what we don't want here, let me just sort of be confusing here, but maybe what we want instead is a crossover. All right, so let's do the same thing. The crossover and the comparison are very similar, and the difference is the comparison sort of finds entire areas where you're above or below, say an EMA or whatever, whereas a crossover will find the exact point at which they crossed. Okay, so let me just illustrate. Okay, so there's a crossover. So you can see it was this bar that essentially we met and exceeded the closed above the EMA. Okay, so that would be, I guess, you consider successful retracement of the EMA. But we sort of defaulted everything, the crossovers, in this case, to go long when it crosses over. But this is not really the case. What we want to do is sort of, make this a short signal, right? Because we've retraced here. Sorry, we've broken the Keltner here. We retraced back to the EMA. Now we touched the EMA, closed above it. Okay, now that's a signal to go short. So we actually have to kind of invert this guy. So if I hit the invert button, oh, actually, no, you don't want to do that. What we want to do is just reverse it. So let's just swap it so that the closing price is up below and the EMA is above, and that will essentially give us the reverse behavior. Okay. I'll show you. There's also another trick here you could have used. You don't have to reverse it like this. You could, by switching A and B together, essentially you're doing the opposite, right? So you're now testing to see. Think backwards. You're now testing to see if the EMA is above the price versus below the price, versus testing to see if the price is above the EMA versus below the EMA, right? So reversing it now give us the short signal here, okay? But let me just show you, since we're kind of on the topic of showing you 1.1, that you didn't necessarily have to do that, but you could have also used this handy little node that we put here called a long and short modifier. And instead, what I can do is I can plug these guys in like that, and as you can see, it's already defaulted to swap it. So I can either swap it. That's kind of back to where we were originally. So this swaps the long and short signals. Right, so that was red before, now it's green. Just to prove it to you, if I plug the original one back in, it's back to this one, or back to there. So, I mean, you could use this kind of node here to sort of, again, manipulate your signals as they come in. We don't really need it because I've already sort of reversed it here. So I'm just going to plug that in directly. Okay. So what we kind of need to do, I'm just going to throw this in here first. I'm going to put basically a what we call a ratio node here. and ratio nodes are very similar to an AND node, but the nice thing about them is you can sort of see your signal build up as it's coming, as the criteria come in. So the ratio node, just keep in mind, with everything else equal, it's basically an AND node that lets you see a little bit more than an AND node will let you see. So what I'm getting at is here, I'm going to plug them both in here, like so. Okay, and what I'm saying is these kind of half bars here, right, sort of 50% of the criteria, is actually this top section up here, right? And then when I plug, or then when we get these full bars, that's sort of saying both criteria have been met here. Okay, so you can see that on this bar, we've sort of had the previous criteria of the lower, or the swing breaking through the Keltner channel, and then the retracement happening and meeting up with the EMA as your second criteria. Okay, so I mean, like if I were just to illustrate, like change this back to an AND node, change this to an AND node, you just get that one signal, right? So you just sort of, it's a little more handy when you can sort of see what's kind of going on with your kind of components there. Okay, so I'm going to go back to a ratio node, and again, just to illustrate, what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug the top guy in by itself. Okay, you notice how this is the, again, this is the little section to determine if we've broken the Keltner channel, and then the bottom guy, which is the actual retracement test to see if it's hit the EMA. And when I plug them both in, that's kind of what you get. So that's that's kind of one way soon that you can implement this. And believe me, there's probably a million ways to do it, depending on how strict you are with looking at the last swings and that sort of thing. So this, I guess this would be kind of a simple way to go about doing it. So two pieces you got to worry about. One, you've got to just you're testing again up here to see if there was a price piercing sometime in the last swing, and the second piece being whether or not you've actually retraced it, touched close above, or whatever you want to call it, the EMA. If you want to say let's just mix it up a little bit. Say when you call a retracement, not necessarily, maybe you don't care if you've actually closed above it necessarily. Maybe you just want to be within a small range of it. So there's a way to go about doing this. Okay, so let me illustrate. Okay, so this is what I'm trying to get at is, maybe your criteria isn't so much that the close of the bar has to be above or below the EMA. Maybe it's more like, well, you got to be within 4 or 5 ticks of it, something like that. Okay, so there's a way to sort of do that instead. So and that would actually involve using the comparison like we had before, which is again very similar to the crossover, except instead of marking just one bar, you'll mark entire sections. All right, so let's sorry, my brain is not good at multitasking, so I'm sort of just trying to think one step ahead, but I have a little difficulty with that. Okay, so let me plug this one into the ratio node and show it. Let's take a look, see what we get here. Okay, so very similar. Actually, your signals in theory should be basically identical, but you're now kind of getting. Oh, let's got an extra guy. There you go. We're now kind of getting slightly different, a slightly different look. So your signals aren't like discrete, like you got one signal there. You start to get, kind of them doubling up like this. And the reason why is because the indicator comparison, right, if I plug that in, it's not discrete little signals it's giving you. It's now giving you entire sections where you're above or below your EMA, right? So actually, when you sort of plug them in together, you're going to have more than one bar match up here. So, this again, this back up again. This bar here, or this area here is representing successful piercing of the color channel, and then along comes sort of your second criteria with the comparison, meaning that your price is matched up with the EMA, and so that's your short signal there. Okay, so maybe that's something what you want, maybe it's what you don't want. Like the result of this when you're auto trading may be something like this. You might get an entry, and you could see that say you're going short here, right? You got a short entry right here. Okay, it's possible that you could have got stopped out here. The next bar occurs, you're going to get another short entry because of this second signal, right? That even if though you're stopped out the bar before. Remember, so computers don't care what happened, the previous bar. Your rules say go, then you go. That may or may not be what you want. Okay. In this case, it actually is what you want because it worked out. But maybe you're the system designer, right? Maybe that's not what you want. It's not the kind of risk you want to endure. So a couple things you can do about that. One of them is block yourself from sort of double trading this. Right? Again, this is all up to you if you want to do this or not. Like some people would find it desirable to re-enter because that's a possible missed opportunity, right? Re-entry may actually be a sign that your stops may be too tight as well. That's possible too. Your system says get short. It's going to do whatever it needs to do to get short. So it's going to go in even if you stopped out the previous bar. But what you can do if you like that, right? That may be against your rules. Is you can put in what's called a signal blocker. Okay, and this will actually allow you to sort of get rid of duplicate signals like that and just sort of make them discrete. Okay, so just plug that in first. All right, now I'm not going to do it exactly the way we want on the first try here. So let's just go in and change the reset options. Okay, so what the reset options do is essentially cancel out the blocking. So essentially, if I take these resets and I take them all off like this, okay, so I've set them all to false. What this is telling BloodHound, or what telling this little note here, it blocked the signal no matter what. After you get the short signal, block it. Okay, so essentially, this used to be a double signal. Now we got nothing after it. Nothing. Like it's just zeroed out. Okay. You might have an exception to that. You might be like, well, right, block it unless there's a signal in the opposite direction or something to that degree. Because he knows how to block both sides. Like he just completely wiped it all out. So you could say, well, no, block it, but only if there's no signal in the opposite direction, right? So that's what the reset is. You could say, right, input opposite signal, set that to true, and what that does is block it unless there's a signal in the opposite direction. Just take the block right off. So again, these are some things you have to sort of play with and take a look at. But that's kind of what the reset does. The reset is sort of in every one of these function nodes. It takes the signal that's coming in, takes the action that it would have taken, and then resets it so it doesn't take that action anymore. Okay, I've probably thoroughly lost a bunch, especially the new people here. Now these are sort of fairly advanced concepts that I'm going over, and so don't sort of be scared if you're confused. I mean, this these function nodes are really designed for people that have been using the product for at least a couple weeks, and understand the basic logic and that sort of thing. They're not something I would expect anybody to sort of jump in right away and be able to master. Certainly if you're just starting out, and we've got quite a few websites that are sort of starting out, so that'd be good, especially because if you guys are here on the second, you obviously the keen crowd here. Just on vacation. Most of my friends are still on vacation. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to show you some of the more advanced stuff that we can do. But certainly, if you're just starting out, my recommendation is oops, to head over to our heroes first. Start there. We go very slow in terms of we go through the very basic first. BloodHound, because of its flexibility, you can really get really deep into this stuff. But there's a good starting point here. So the quick start guide will get you up and running real quickly, and then we go through some really pretty light stuff like the interface and how it looks. Some of the stuff actually is now kind of a little outdated due to version 1.1, the beta version, but 1.06 should more or less should apply. So yeah, I would say go through these first, and we do have a wonderful sort of getting started guide that Zach wrote up, and I recommend just going through these as well, and you get everything you need to know to get off on your feet, so this sort of stuff doesn't make sense to you. All right, so yeah, I mean, again, my message is don't get intimidated if a lot of this stuff I've lost you. After a couple of weeks, it just sort of becomes just a matter of it's a matter of just honing it and trying different things out. But most of the users that we've surveyed have found that BloodHound is relatively easy to pick up. So, but you guys are also a relatively smart crowd, so it's probably not for the average human. But traders tend to be kind of the upper end of the intellectual scale, if you will. Okay. Anyway, Zach, I don't know if you're there, but if you got a chance to try out Joseph's question there.
Yeah, actually, give me just a minute because I'm still having I just tried to do an update and I'm still having a conflict with Falcon, so I'm having to revert back to 1.101.
Okay.
So I'm doing that right now. So give me just a minute. If you could just delay. Thanks.
Sure. Well, I'll check out Dan's question here. He's asking, how do I represent current price if I want to trade a trigger when price pulled back and touch the 5 SMA, for example? I do not want to wait for the bar close. Okay, so the first step, Dan, is okay, under indicators. Okay, so this is actually kind of a system-wide thing with NinjaTrader. First step is you go to BloodHound and make sure that your calculate on bar close is set to false. Okay. Once you set that to false, what that induces NinjaTrader to do is update every single indicator on every tick that comes in. Okay, so used to be a worry when we had slower computers, but not a big deal these days. Anyway, the long and short of it is you can actually get intra-bar triggers doing this. Okay, so let me do that real quick here. So I'll just cut and paste Dan's text here into the window here. So actually, I don't know if I can I? Copy address. No, sorry, I can't seem to copy the text. But he's asking a very similar question. He wants to see when the price pulls back and touches the 5 SMA, but wants to do it intra-bar. Okay, so let's again, it's a very similar setup, but let's switch this guy over to the. Actually, let's see if I can get some real live data, quote-unquote live data. I'm just going to use simulated data. That way we can sort of control the flow here. So I'm going to connect to a simulated data feed, see what we get here, and hopefully, okay, yeah, so I had my simulated data feed. I had the value set at something crazy, so let me just go back and fix that real quick, guys. Sorry about that. Disconnect that. I think I might have crazy charts from now. Okay, I do. Okay. Let's connect. Okay. All right, so first thing first, let's set this over to calculating bar close false. All right, and let me go in here what the price is. It is 92.93. So what I'm going to do, you want to simulate data feed, or you want to simulate your data. Go to your instrument manager first. I found this is a thing with NinjaTrader. I found select your instrument and hit edit, and under, let's see, there's sim starting feed price. I think, let me try this out. I think if you leave it blank, it will take the last price available. And that's probably the cleanest way. Let's try that out and see if that worked. Nope. Okay. Let's do this again. Disconnect. Connect to the real data feed just to clean it up again. All right. And bear with me while I just make that a little cleaner. So, oops, that's the wrong one. The CL. Edit that. Let's make that 93 point. I think it's 28. All right. There we go. Now that we now we go to the simulate data feed, we're not going to get that crazy bar. Oh, there we go. Okay, I punched in a number too high probably, but okay, there we go. So that's simulate data. Let's sort of clean the slate here. All right, let me remove pretty much all this stuff here. Put on the SMA5, for example. That's what Dan is looking at. Okay. Let's make that a different color. That's hard to see. Make it nice and thick too. All right. There we go. Nice and white. There we go. Appears to be below the chart. So here's a neat little trick. Watch this. You see that? What I've done here is I click on the indicator and I hold down the shift button and use the mouse wheel. And you see how it hides behind the chart? Now it's above the chart. You can actually change it like that, okay, just by using your mouse wheel and the shift button. It's another neat little NinjaTrader tidbit. And we want this one to be calculate or bar close false, okay, because we want to be looking at intra-bar data, okay. So as you can see now, as soon as I did that, the SMA is updating as ticks are coming in. All right, and we're pretty damn high up there, so I'm going to start the trend going down here with the little trend slider. See if we can get there and meet it before I build the system. Okay, and we'll just keep it simple. All right, so I'm going to use a simple crossover. Indicator crossover. There we go. And let's do the SMA5. All right, so sorry if I'm going a little bit quick here. Oops, we actually want our closing price here. So zet down, this is where it is. Okay, you see this? Under indicator A, I know technically closing price isn't an indicator, but basically what you're trying to do here is compare apples to oranges, right? Or A to B, sorry. And you can choose, and by default it's defaulted to indicator, but as soon as I hit closing price, then we're looking at closing price versus an indicator. So the bottom line is set to an indicator. In this case, the SMA5. All right? And you can see right away here, so these are crossover points. This is where it dipped below, this is where it dipped above. And I'm just to prove it to you, I'm going to wait till this guy comes down and intra-bar touches this SMA, so you can see when getting an intra-bar signal. Can you set some of the parameters? Okay, while that's happening, I'm just going to read Charles Boyle. Unfortunately, okay, so oops, I think I forgot to set BloodHound. Okay, so it did cross over, but I forgot to set BloodHound to calculate bar to close true. So go here, or false, I mean. Set this guy to false. Okay. All right, there you go. See, now we're intra-bar, and you can see the bar has not closed, but we are now piercing that SMA, and we got the signal intra-bar. Okay, so that's basically what that is. Another little tidbit I will just add is say you do want some things in your system to be on bar close and some things not. This is where it gets a little confusing, a little bit complicated, but the way to accomplish that is you add another chart. Okay, so say you've got a 1 minute chart. You're not interested, your criteria, whatever you're doing on your 1 minute chart, you're not interested on it performing actions until the bar closes, right? For whatever reason, okay? So you don't want a universal across the board. You don't want, say you want, I don't know, say you want the 1 minute bar to be, above a Bollinger Band or something, but you want it to have closed above before you even think about your other criteria on your sort of real-time chart. So what you can do is you add this chart in, and instead of, you see how you've got this calculate on bar close option here, you can actually bring it down. You have two options here. You can either put it to true, which now will make anything that you've put on this 1 minute chart consider it to be on close of the bar only, or you can inherit it. In this case, that defaults to false, meaning that you're getting intraday or intra-bar data being calculated as well on this 1 minute bar. Okay, so I hope I haven't confused you too much, but that's sort of the crux of it. It's just you can sort of mix and match to some degree, right? To some degree, it's not necessarily true for every possibility. And what I'm getting at is this: if you just sort of go through the exception, right? So if you had this guy set to true, so just kind of due to what NinjaTrader allows us to do, like it's now, once you've told NinjaTrader that, okay, I only want to calculate on bar close true, then you're only going to get bar close data for anything that you add to it. So you cannot just get another time frame and say I want inter-bar data. It's just not available to the indicator. So that's why if you ever need to match, my recommendation is to make BloodHound calculate bar close false first, right? And then once you've got that done, then you can go in. Then you can go in and you can add time frames to your content, being true or false, true or inherited being false. All right, so kind of gives you the flexibility of both worlds, but it doesn't really give you that option. You're not able to do that if you initially set BloodHound to calculate bar close true. All right, confusing. Trust me, that was a doozy to implement. That whole calculate on bar close true and false, when you start mixing and matching, can really blow your mind. When you just got so many different things going on at once. Anyways, we've managed to figure it out, and so you guys don't have to do that. Randy O asks, Jeremy, I notice you are using closing price yet. Several bars qualify with bar high or bar low. I'm assuming that you would need to set BloodHound to calculate on bar close equal to false. Yep, exactly. Use SI Chameleon to work with high or low bounds. So yeah, and actually Zach, I think this is going to go right into exactly what Zach's going to show us, and that's the ability to use another kind of indicator that we've included with BloodHound called SI Chameleon, which is just a fancy name for basic. It's a handy little indicator that will let you sort of import data, from either another time frame or just establish it's good for things like, okay, I want to know what the last high was in the last 5 bars, right? That's easy. You just set this guy to 5 like that, and high bounds. That's what that is. You could do things like what was the average the average open price for the last 5 bars. That's what the SMA is. By the way, an SMA is just an average, just a moving average, right? So, you can sort of look at highs, lows, opens, closes, weighted and typicals. I don't even know what typical is really, honestly. It's just there. It's just data. But you know, this is one way to sort of, if you need to incorporate, you know, highs, lows, mid prices, opens and close, median prices, whatever you want, into your system somehow, even on different time frames, right? So I can even switch the time frame on this guy, right? So I can look at a different bar chart. This is SI Chameleon is how you do that, okay? Because with BloodHound 2, you can actually plug this in as well, right? So you know, say, okay, so let's just take, you know, one bar look back, which basically just, it's basically what it's, you know, that's just saying, you know, just take the last bar's, you know, high or whatever, or low, or, you know, whatever you choose here. You can plug that in into another indicator. So I mean, I don't know, you wanted the of you know, the last 10 closes, or no, not closes, because EMA by itself, but say you want the EMA the last 10 highs. What you do is hit nest input like this, right? And what that takes, what this is telling BloodHound is take my, I think I might have got this backwards, but take my high values, right? Plug them into the EMA. Look at the last 10. So this sort of, let me just hit OK, and this is what I want. And I don't think so. Hang on. Sorry, guys. I want the other way around. I want the EMA first. And I want to feed the EMA as a chameleon. So I get nest input like so. There we go. Okay, so essentially I want the EMA of the last, 10 highs. So I want the EMA 10. And I want to feed the EMA the high values, right? So that's kind of how you construct these like that, and then you can plug that in, and you can see here we've got the EMA of the last 10 highs, right? Okay, a little bit confusing. Hope I didn't lose anybody there, but you know, that's essentially, you know, it's just a data feed going into the EMA, and the EMA will just take whatever spits out, whatever comes out of the SI Chameleon, and plug it into its formula, and you know, that's kind of one way to go about doing that. So that's a little trick there. Oh, Adam. Okay, so Adam's asking, when will we be able to see the last few webinars loaded to website or YouTube? You know, I must apologize. I got a little bit lazy at the holidays there. Didn't post the last one, but we didn't actually have a webinar on the 26th, you know, due to the holidays. But you know, if you go to training workshops, right, under Learning BloodHound, on the right-hand side is all our previously recorded webinars. And December 12th, you know, I think that, you know, that is the last one, because the 26th, like I said, we did not do. Sorry, I should say the 19th I didn't post yet, which I will be doing tomorrow. I'll be posting that tomorrow. The 12th is the last one that's posted. The 26th we skipped, and of course the second is what we're doing today. So it is up to date as far as you know. We're one behind. But anytime you need to take a look at previous webinars, that's kind of where it is, and you can click this guy here, and you can you know, put this link to your bookmarks or whatever, and it'll link to all our previous webinars. All right. When we get them posted. Okay, so okay, so I didn't answer Charles's question, and unfortunately he's left. And Randy O tells me he's from Viper Trading System, so I guess apologize, Charles, for not getting back to you soon enough. But we are working on. He's asking about optimizations. And parameters, strategy analyzer, and I'll just preface that with that's something we are working on. It's a part of the product roadmap. The ability to sort of plug in and change or use the strategy analyzer's optimization capabilities So what he's talking about is this guy right here. Right? So he had a strategy running. Right? He wants to be able to optimize variables, and not just not these variables, not these stops and profit targets, but he wants to be able to optimize things like, say we had a change in slope here and we had an SMA 14. He wants to optimize this, right? And just to let you know, that's something that is on the product roadmap, and what we want to be able to do is essentially figure out the best way to present this data to new traders so they can be optimized. But it's just something we haven't completed yet. So, but we're well aware that's something that people want. So it's something we're looking into. We're not sure if that's going to be part of SI Raven or if that will be exclusively for the next product that we're working on, Falcon. So, so I'll just leave it at that for now and let you know that's something that we are definitely aware of. Okay, so Zach tells me he's ready, and he could probably answer Joseph's question. I'm sorry, Joseph, for making you wait so long there, but let me see if I can pass it over to him here. And, Zach, are you there?
Oh.
I think you might have a mute on your mic there.
Now my mic's on. Okay, yeah, I'm good to go. Oh, I guess let me take over the projector here. And all right, you guys should be able to see my screen. So, all right, let me switch. Let's see, let me get this monitor going. So, all right, I'm just going to kind of start from scratch here. And first, let me say welcome back from the holidays, as I said earlier. So, hope you guys enjoyed a relaxing week off. So I was out in California. Just got back in late last night, so I wasn't quite prepared this morning, and thankfully Jeremy was on the ball. And so
actually, good. Zach, I thought you were.
It's good
taking today off.
Jeremy do it once in a while. Oh. Well, yeah, I was kind of off by a day because I had in my mind that I was going to get back on Monday night. But I got back last night, and so yeah, it was kind of a day off. So, anyways, I'm here. So, all right, let's get to Joseph's question. So, his question is, how do you place SI Chameleon on my chart and then use the data in my login template? Which, Joseph, I'm not sure what you mean by the data in your login template, but maybe you can give me an answer while I read the rest of your question and get my chart set up here. And then he says, I'm trying to compare the highs and lows of the previous two bars to get a signal. Thanks. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of make something up. I can design like a couple of systems using SI Chameleon. So we'll look for like inside days, and we'll look for outside days, which are candlestick patterns. So let me switch over to a daily chart, because I guess inside days and apply better to daily charts. And let's see if I can put this on a continuous symbol. And there we go. And let me switch symbols here. Let's see. Let's take a look at Google. This probably work better on a stock data. Wow, look at that gap down. All right, set that to 0. Get rid of some of those lines. Boy, something happened to Google the other day, didn't it? That gap down. Wow. All right, so let's see. Logic template. Okay. So Joseph wants to know how to use the SI chameleon on his chart when he uses data in his logic template. Okay, gotcha. All right, let's add chameleon onto the chart. So go to indicators and jump down here to SI and add chameleon on there. And let's see. So we want to look back for the, let's see, last 2 days. Let's see, previous 2 bars. And all right, so I have the high. The high is plotting. Let me change the color so it'll be a little more visible. Green, orange. Let's take a look at that. And let's turn this one invisible, transparent. And I want to make these lines a little thicker so a little easier to see. All right. Just kind of looking at the plot here to see if I'm getting what I want. All right. So what is happening? So I'm using the this look back period of 2, and so on this bar here. Well, hopefully you guys can see my cursor okay, but on this bar here, if we go up, we can see the high plot is tracking the highest high of the previous 2 bars. So, and I'll take a look at 3 periods here and see what that gives me. And yeah, so I'm going to use a look back period of 3. So that way, so when I'm on this low bar right here, this low swing right here, if I look up, looking back, so this would be bar 1, this is look back 1, this bar is look back 2, this bar is look back 3. So in a sense, it's kind of like if you're on this bar right here and you're looking back 2 bars, it's capturing the highest of these 3 bars looking back. So that's what I'm going to use. And let me swing this forward. So if this is the current bar, and then this is marking the highest of the previous 2 bars back, or actually the previous 3 bars back. So, all right, so we'll use that look back of 3, and what we'll do is we'll look for an inside day. So let me scan the chart here and try and find one that's going to meet that criteria. There we go. Okay, let me mark it. And let's mark this guy right there. So that's going to be the guy we're looking for. So we'll use this as a starter. So this isn't exactly answering Joseph's question, but we'll get there. So really looking for an inside day. I'm only looking back 1 bar. So really I'm only concerned with the previous bar back, and I'm going to be, so an inside day means that the high, the high is inside the previous bar's high, and the low is above the previous bar's low. So the low and the high is inside the previous bar's low and high. All right. So next thing, let me get BloodHound on the chart. There go. All right. Pull this over. So, you know, I still haven't, just so you guys are aware, I'm using a previous version. I'm using 1.101. So 1.103 is currently out. So there might be some very subtle differences. So just to be aware. Okay, so we're going to be doing a comparison on this, right? We're going to be comparing the current high and low to the previous high and low. All right, so let's put the comparison on there. Add that. And I'll call this a inside day. So I'll need to change my indicator to the chameleon. And all right, so I need to look back at 2 because it does include the current bar. So we need to look back up 2. And let's see. So I'm going to use the longs for highs and the lows for shorts. And next, set up indicator B. All right. And let's see. So for indicator B, basically indicator B is going to be the previous bar. Right. So let me think. How am I going to do this? Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to set these up the same. So the high, I'm going to get a long signal from the high and a short signal from the low. And I need to, I'm actually going to, let me, there's a couple of ways I can do this. So I'm going to change this. No. I think the easiest way to do this is to use the displacement. I could use the look back within chameleon, but actually I'm going to use the displacement to look for this. So let me set this back to 1. And let's see. And to be a truly inside day, I'm going to set this to 1 tick. So in other words, this bar right here, let me slide this over. So this being the current bar, the low has to be, or I'm sorry, the high has to be lower than the previous high by 1 tick, and the low has to be above the previous low by 1 tick. I want at least a 1 tick qualification there. And I'm only using the large amount, so I need to set this to 0. And let me try and get these to update here. There. This is one nice feature here that we started adding. So when when you type in your amounts and the difference, and there's a couple of other solvers, right? Like the slope solver has a slope setting. It's kind of similar to this difference, and that amount that you set in here shows up in the description for this. So that's nice to see what you're working with. And to set that to 0. All right, I set these to 0 because I want at least a 1 tick or more difference between this chameleon, this is the data from indicator A versus the data from indicator B. All right. So short, I want A. Let's see. All right, let me just walk. I'm going to walk through this out loud, make sure I got things set up right. So for a long signal, A needs to be less than B, but I have it backwards. So remember, A is going to be the high and the low of the current bar. Oops. And B, indicator B, is going to be one bar back because I set the displacement to 1. And so for a short, when A is greater than B, so I need to reverse this one as well. Okay, there we go. Now what I'm getting is a non-directional signal out of this, right? Because an inside day doesn't tell you whether it's not really a long or short signal. You know, it's just a candlestick pattern. So what I get is, all right. So what I get is a long and a short on the same, on the same bar. You know, I could combine it with, I don't know, using like the slope of an EMA or something like that to filter out and get a long signal out of it. Okay, so that's kind of a simple look at using Chameleon. Now let's kind of address Joseph's direct question, where he wants to look back 2 bars, and let's see, I'm trying to compare the highs and lows of the previous 2 bars to get a signal. All right, so let's kind of look for when the price breaks the high or the low of the previous 2 bars. So let's do that one. So I'll use this comparison to actually do that study. And let's see, previous 2 bar break. So a lot of times I'll kind of truncate the solver's name because I don't like my names to get too long. So that's because when you're using the logic template, if your names get really long, it makes it makes the solver block really long. So I like to shorten these up. All right, so previous 2 bar breaks. So indicator A is going to be our current bar, and let's see. I'm going to look for the closing price to actually break the previous high and low. All right, so let me take a shortcut here and just use the closing price. Keep it simple. And so then indicator B is going to be the previous 2 bars back. So let me set this to SI Chameleon. All right. And I'm going to set my look back to 3, which is how I have the indicator set on my chart. All right, so when we break the high, we'll get a long, and when we break the low, we'll get a short. And so I'm just going to break it by 0 ticks. All right, let's take a look here, and clearly I should get a signal there. So let's see what is going on. Oh, let's see. yeah, I still need to set the displacement to 1. There we go. Yeah, I still needed to displace the indicator by 1. So let me displace this indicator by 1 so we can see what BloodHound's looking at. So let me set this displacement to 1. Alright, and would you like to save your template? Yes, please. Alright, so let me save this under today's workshop. Jump down here, and go ahead. Need to start using 2013, man. Who would have thought we would have made it past the end of the Mayan calendar, huh? Alright. And today's the 2nd. So 02, alright, 2013, 0102. Okay. Alright, so now you can see the green and red lines are displaced by 1. So when, let me slide this forward, kind of look. Alright, so we have no signal, nothing's happening. The closing price hasn't broken, didn't break the previous high or the previous low. Let's step 1 forward, so there we go. Now the closing price is up here. Hopefully you guys can see my cursor, and it broke up above the green band, or the high of the previous 2 bars. And the closing price keeps breaking above the previous high, keeps breaking above the previous high. One more time, and there. So the closing price is, let's see, up here at 592, but so it's right in the middle between the high and the low, so no signal. The close is still between the high and the low, no signal. And okay, so here the close is above the previous high, but it's not above the high of 2 bars back. Right, so actually, what this is looking, we're actually looking 3 bars back is what we're doing. So let me change this to look back 3 bars. Go in there. Okay, set this to 2. So what I'm kind of showing you here is don't ever expect to get this right the first time. You know, a lot of times when I'm trying to answer questions and come up with systems, a lot of times it's just an experiment, trial and error. I don't try and get it. I don't expect to get it perfect the first time anymore. All right, so set that to 2. And so now we can see, let me draw a line here. There. So if I connect the high of that bar over, and sorry about that, got a call coming in. Okay. So I connected the high, and so we can see the SI Chameleon's plot dropped down to the second bar back's high. So there's the high of the second bar back. And we can see the closing price did not break it and didn't break the previous low. Also, I need to make the same change in my solver here, because Rex, I'm looking back. I have my look back set to 3. So let me match what I have on the chart. Set it to 2. All right. Okay, let's step forward another bar, and there we go. Okay, now the closing price broke the low, and we got a short signal. All right, so Joseph, I hope that answered your question. And I take it Jeremy, let me kind of back up here a little bit. So Gary asked the question if there's a new beta version out, and I don't believe there is. I think Jeremy already had answered your question, Gary, because I see a thank you in there. I'm going to get rid of that question. And, all right, get rid of Joseph's question. And Joseph asked the question, how long does the holiday promotion be running? I believe it's ended already.
Zach, sorry, let me interrupt there. I said it's set to go on the 5th there, but talk to you about. I'll talk to you offline about that.
Okay. All right.
So
good.
Yeah.
So all right, good. So Joseph, you get that question answered, and all right. Thanks for reply back. And let's see, Jeremy had answered Charles' question about having like the period variables available in the strategy analyzer, so that'll be a good improvement. And let's see, and Jeremy had answered Randy's question here about using the, let's see, yeah, and so I think we've gotten through the questions here. Oh, Gary's making the comment, Google drops every January. Now maybe that's because the holiday shopping is over and people aren't clicking on ads as much. Who knows? But you know, it's kind of nice. I kind of cut my teeth on trading kind of annual cyclical events that I noticed in stocks. So when you see stuff like that, that's a good, usually it ends up being a good trade. Let's see. And Alfred. Hello, Zach. Shame on you for coming to California and not dropping in for a drink. Yeah, you know what, Alfred? I had plans to go see my sister in San Diego, but it just didn't work out. I never did make it down there to see my sister. So, unfortunately, I would have loved to put on a t-shirt and shorts and enjoy the warm weather down there in San Diego. So, and let's see, Adam. All right, last question for the day. Adam's got a question here. Okay, I like the SMA bounce setup you did in a previous webinar. Can we add a filter like the one we are doing now? Let's see, where we need 2 bars in same direction to take the trade. You bet. That would be an easy one, Adam. Okay, let me load up that chart. Let's see. Better. Let me save the template for this one first. All right. So this is a good thing to do. It makes life so much simpler when you kind of put together a system to use the chart template system. Because when you load up these chart templates, right, it loads up BloodHound and all your indicators you have on the chart, but it also loads up the BloodHound template into BloodHound as well. So it can save you a ton of time. All right, so I can have that saved. Okay. So let me pull up this other chart. Okay, let's close that. Minimize that. All right. And, you know, I think, I wasn't sure if I mentioned this just before Christmas, but I was talking to somebody about this, but I noticed on Big Mike's, I noticed a lot of people like RJ's median Renko bars. Well, somebody had posted this Uni Renko on Big Mike's, and it does the same thing as RJ's median Renko bars, but it's free. It may be in the members section of Big Mike's download area. I don't recall offhand, so if you don't find it, it may be in the members section. And so, I always recommend it's well worth the money to pay the one-time fee to become a member of Big Mike's and get full access to everything. And let me pull up this bar type here. Yeah, so it has an open offset, so you can control where the open is. And let's see, the tick trend determines how long the bar is, how many ticks the bar is, and then the reversal obviously controls how many ticks has to be achieved before you get a reversal. So, actually, yeah, I did mention this on the last webinar because I remember asking the question if somebody could do a comparison, because I think what's happening is with RJ's bars, I think he's like, let me close this up here, and let me scoot this over. So you can see that, right, the price reversed and reversed, and then it reversed again, and then it continued back down again. I think RJ's bars is actually removing these reversals here. So if one of you guys has RJ's bars, I'd be curious to see if his bar type is removing that reversal. Which, if you're back testing a system, that kind of concerns me because it's giving you false data. If you're removing bars, if you're removing data, price data that actually happened in real time, I'm not a fan of these bar types because it doesn't give you a true open. So therefore, if you're trying to back test it, you can't back test something that doesn't have true price data. You could easily create a system that just makes money all day long using this bar type, but when you apply it to real data, it's not going to make money anymore. So they look nice on the chart, but they're not back testable. So just a little word of caution there. All right, let's see. All right, looks like I got an answer from Bob here. RJ's bars are a subset of Unirankel, as are most other Rankos. Okay, thanks, Bob. So, and Oscar's asking, when will you put this template to be downloaded, and where? So, Oscar, it's going to be, we put the templates with the recorded webinars. So let me find that web page here. And all right, let me drag it over, and let's scroll down here and see if there's any. Not all the webinars have template files attached. Kind of depends. Oh, there we go. So this webinar, this workshop, MA Bounce, which we're going to be modifying right now, back on October 24th, right, I did attach the template file for that workshop, and so you'll see these buttons here with the webinar. All right, Oscar. Okay. So Gary's asking, what's the best bars to use with automation and backtesting? My preference is range bars and regular. There's another type of Renko that doesn't modify the price. Let's see here. So I like range bars or Renkos because they do kind of cut out some of the chop, right? So like if you're on a tick chart or a minute chart, sometimes you can get several bars of just choppiness. And so range bars kind of cut out some of that. Depends on how big of a range you set the bar to be. And Renkos kind of cut out some of that. Let's see. So yeah, on Big Mike's, there's a better Renko. So I like that better Renko. Or just the regular or just the regular range bars are nice as well. So, all right, let me load up the MA bounce template so we can modify it for Adam. All right. So this is a signal type template, and let me find it here. All right, I'll load that one up. And I'm going to switch this over to arrange bars. Let's see, what am I on? I'm on gold. Let's do a 10 tick on gold. So, or 10 range, sorry. There we go, 10 range. And okay, so there's 3 signals right there. And so what we want to do is we want to modify it. So this is, let's see, this one's going to get cut out here. So this signal is going to disappear because of the way we're going to modify it. So Adam would like to see 2 bars in the same direction before you get a signal. So we can see we got an up bar and we got the signal on this up bar, but then this down bar is going the wrong direction, so it's going to kill this signal. But this signal is going to work okay, and this one is going to work okay, this short and this long. Alright, so let's open this up. So what we need to do is we need to add a second bar direction solver. So we need another one of these guys. Alright, so I'm going to copy it down. And so this is going to be like bar 0. And this is going to be bar 1. And, well, actually, you know, it's, don't actually need the solver. In this case, I was trying to give you an example that kind of would match most cases, but we have this convenience here where we can require the number of bars, right? So all I got to do is change it to 2, and it's done. And let me just kind of show you the proper way then. So I can just set this to 2, and all right, and I can see. Let's see. So I can see I still get this signal, and I'm still getting this signal because, let's see if let me look on the logic template here. And let's see, these 2 guys, I think I kind of know the answer to this already. I'm just wanting to verify before I speak too soon. Okay. Yeah, so this solver is looking at the current bars, I believe high and low. Let's see, yeah, it's looking at the high and the low. Yeah. So I got a signal here because the current bar of the signal, let me slide this over. So the low of this bar is close enough to the EMA to where I still got the signal. But what happened back here, so this bar, what happened was the high was too many ticks away from the EMA to actually give me a signal. So that's what happened. And then let's see, this solver here is looking at the close to the EMA of 1 bar back. 1 bar back. So let me take a look at that. Oh, okay. So I think what's doing it, the reason why this signal didn't occur is because of the slope. Remember, I'm having several solvers here. Take a look at the slope of this white zero lag EMA, because I wanted to make sure that price is moving towards my EMA. That way it kind of filters out all this chop, right? So I want price. So if we look back here, right, I'm wanting price to be moving towards the red EMA when I'm looking for a bounce, because this stuff over here, I want to cut out this chop, right? I don't want to get false signals when price is just kind of chopping around the EMA, or the red EMA. So let's see, let me find it again. So what is happening here? Yes, okay, so the slope, you can see the EMA kind of is pointing in the wrong direction. It's basically, it's kind of hard to see, but it is sloping down a little bit, or the slope is too flat, essentially. So the slope of this EMA kind of killed the signal. So what I would have to do is, let's see, I believe it's going to be this solver here that's looking at the current. So I can see this is a slope solver, and I'm looking at the current bar, and see, I'm requiring a slope of 0.1 ticks. So if I disconnect this guy, and come on, there we go, now I'm getting the signal. Yep. So I had to take this guy out of the system, because if I'm wanting 2 bars in the direction of the trade, then that's going to give this zero lag EMA filter enough time to flatten out and kill the signal. So, all right, let's take a look here. Yeah, so this guy should have got killed because we got a down bar here. So let me kind of scroll back. And yeah, so some other changes I probably should make is I'm looking at this signal right here. So you can see I got a partial signal here on kind of like on this bar, right? This bar touched the EMA and went up, and then we actually want to get a signal on the second up bar. But I think what's happening is, let me check the signal here, and yeah, so these guys are my main signals. So this one is looking for the high, it's looking for the high and low of the bar to be close to the EMA, and this one is looking for the close of the bar to be close to the EMA. And so I think what I need to do is I will have to change the displacement on this. Yeah, so I'm going to have to change the displacement on this by 1. There we go, and I should change the displacement on this by 1. Well, an additional 1, so I'm going to have to set this to 2, and then set that to 1. All right. And I may need to set the displacements on these filters here by 1 as well. Let's just kind of take a look at it the way it is right now. and see what we get. Alright, so we did get a trade there. That's a good signal. Yeah, this one got knocked off. Alright, we did get this short here. Let me kind of go back and find out what's going on here. Let's see, is it one more? Oh. So I want to look why I didn't get a long signal off of this guy. Seems like I should have. Let me check my main signals. And nothing. Let's see. Alright, I think what I need to do is make a copy of this so that way I can have my displacements set to 0. Yeah, so I'm having to build more checks into this system. Because it looks like right now, well, you know what, 3 ticks might be a little too tight for gold. That might be part of the problem. Let's see if I knock this up to 5. See what happens here. Yeah. So it looked like 3 ticks was a little too tight. So that kind of solved that problem. Yep. Okay, so now let's look at the whole signal. Okay, now it's going to take a look back. Alright. So I moved my chart forward to the current bar, and we'll just kind of look back here. Alright, well, that was a good short. Let's see, luckily no longs here. Let's see. I'm looking at this area right in here to see why we didn't get a long signal. So you can see I got a partial right there. Let's take a look. Okay, so the main signals are giving longs. So it must be the filters here. Let's see the bar direction. So I got a long there. And let me draw an arrow. Shift or Control F2. All right. All right, so we're kind of looking why we didn't get a long on this bar right here. There. So my guess is probably one of these filters on the 0 EMA. And yeah. So that's what happened. So I need to set my displacements here. Yeah, I just set that to 2. Change the name on it. Alright, so I'm having to change the displacement on these solvers, alright, because we added one more criteria, we added one more bar to the whole system. So, right, so since we needed a second bar going up for a long, basically it changes my look back. It changes, you know, how many bars back I have to look back now. So that means I need to add, you know, an additional look back or displacement. to my filters. And let's check that one. Okay, we're getting along there. And this guy. And we're getting along there. All right. So now let's take a look at the main signal. Okay. All right, so now we got along there. Now, of course, it wasn't a good trade, but technically it met our requirements. Right, price was coming down, hit the red EMA, and bounced up for 2 bars. So, okay. So, modifying the system, I can see it introduced an error here. Clearly, we don't have a long bounce up right here. So, interesting. Technically, it meets our requirements. So let me kind of put this bar forward. So these filters, right? That's looking at the zero lag EMA, which is the white line. We can see that we have the zero lag EMA sloping down. Let's see. Well, I don't really have much of a slope criteria. I'm looking at this parameter right here on both of these solvers. So I don't have any kind of slope criteria. So let me put something in there and see if that helps. Okay. Apparently it didn't. Well, I could see this solver here is looking at the zero lag EMA, which is the white line, right? And it's comparing it to the EMA, which is the red line, which is our trigger, right? Our bounce off moving average. And I'm just making sure that the white line, right, or making sure, which basically is making sure that price is above the red moving average for a long. But back here I can see, right, the white moving average was below. So what I should do, this is checking on the current bar. So there's displacement, you can see there's displacement set to 0, so it's checking the current bar. And of course the white, by the time we get this second bar up, the white EMA is above the red EMA. But what I need to do is now I need to check back a few bars to make sure that it's been true several bars back. So what I'll do is I'll copy this solver and I'll just add a displacement of 2, and that should fix my situation. So let me put that in the name. Alright, so we can see here that I put in the name of my solvers this 2DS for displacement, telling me I'm using this displacement feature here. And this guy, oops, I didn't put a 3 in there, for displacement of 3. And now I have this new solver here using a displacement of 2, and I plugged that in there. There we go. Got rid of it. That got rid of the long there. All right. Well, good. So far, so good. Technically, these shorts qualified. Didn't get much out of the second one, but the first one, I got a few ticks out of it. Let's see. And now we can see I modified the system so much that Now even this signal here, which originally I had blocked, but now we got these two up bars, and we did get a long signal after these two up bars. But this first up bar didn't give us a signal because of the bar after it. All right, so let me keep scanning back. This is definitely meets our conditions. That's a good signal. This one does, and this long looks good. This long looks good. All right. Well, Adam, I hope that answers your question there. I think that modified it pretty good. And you know what? It's 12:30, so I need to wrap it up so I can get ready and head out the door here. All right, let me kind of look through these questions real quick. Gary's asking, what do I think of the Logic Ultimate bars? Gary, they're nice, but I've noticed that when I had a couple of charts with them running, it really slowed down my system. So the computational overhead was really slowing down NinjaTrader a lot. So, I guess if you're only running one chart, they're good. They're nice. They have a lot of features built into them, which is, I always like features. Randy, thanks, Randy. And Randy, I hope you guys. We wish you guys a lot of success too. We hope BloodHound really helps you guys, build your system and kind of get your trading career going, if it isn't already, or at least we hope it improves it. So we'd love to hear any kind of success stories out there. So best of luck to all you guys for 2013. And so Randy's just kind of writing in a comment here, probably back when I was commenting about saving a chart template. So Randy's saying that when he first when he wants to work with the previous template, first thing he does is goes in and loads the template and then creates a copy, which is definitely a good thing to do. So I just went and modified this, and I didn't create a copy. So what would have happened is it overwrote my existing system here. So before I started modifying anything, I should have gone and changed the name here like this. So let me go find it, and so it's this one, and I probably should have changed the name to 2 bars, something like that, and then saved it. But luckily, I keep backups of these of my BloodHound templates. So we'll post this up with the video. All right. So thanks for that tip, Randy. So Oscar wrote, I guess he meant to write, please hang this one is very good. I guess he meant to say, please post this one. So yeah, we'll post both of these template files up for you, Oscar. So Oscar's saying you can't find where to get the filters from. You know, if you're meaning these filters, Oscar, you know, I had to create these. You know, I call them filters because they're not giving me signals, right? Basically, these two solvers up here are looking for price, you know, to come down to the, you know, I'm looking for price to be close to the red moving average, you know, for a bounce. So that's kind of like the main condition that I'm looking for. You know, and then I'm calling these I'm calling these solvers filters because what they're doing is they're making sure that price is moving down towards the moving average. Therefore, when, you know, in this type of situation here, I'm going to circle it. Right, we're getting prices kind of chopping around the moving average. Right, so you don't want signals during this stuff. So you want to filter them out. So you want to filter out the condition of when the high or the low or the close is near this moving average. So that way you get, you know, that way you get the signal that you really want, you know, which is when price is moving down towards it. So I called those filters, you know, and so I had to create a solver which I call filters, but they're solvers. So all right, thanks, Adam. And yep, Adam will save this template and we'll load it up there. Okay, another comment. All right, thanks for the good, kind words. Appreciate that, and we'll wrap this up. Jeremy, any last words?
Thanks for joining us again, and hope we got a great rest and ready to take on the new year with some new vigor, and we definitely hope that you guys are going to be profitable and successful with your endeavors. And guys, thanks for the kind words. It's really nice to hear the positive feedback. It's good to know that we're heading in the right direction. And most certainly, if you notice anything that you want to improve, if you want to see improved with BloodHound, we're always, you know, have our ears open to that. And as I sort of mentioned, past improvements that we have made were mainly a direct result of you guys, your suggestions and ideas. So, you know, please don't be shy in sharing them with us at any time. I like to repeat that all the time because, you know, this product ultimately it's not for us. It's for you guys. You know, so we want to build it and solve as many trading or allow you to create as many trading systems as you can possibly create. And certainly, if we can help you in that endeavor, like we'll definitely try. So just to reiterate, we've currently set the date for the holiday sale to end on the 5th, and at least unless there's any sort of further notice from us, you can just sort of assume that's kind of when the regular pricing will lapse back into its regular $8.95 license fee. So anyway, hope to see you all next week, and thanks again for joining us.